Hey, it's Pastor Danny here again. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here at the leadership website for Church of the King. I just want to take a few minutes with you today and share a very important leadership principle that's really going to help you as you continue to reach people and build lives. I want to talk to you about the importance of being an initiator as a leader. You know, when I was in high school and in college, I would work for my dad during the summer, and he owned a roofing business. Now, you can imagine in the summer, in southern Louisiana on a roof can be a pretty tough job. So I remember one time I was sitting at the dinner table and asked my dad, I said, "Dad, I want you to start paying me like you do the rest of the crew. I mean, I deserve more money." And I'll never forget it. He looked at me as matter-of-factly as can be. He said, "Son, when you start producing like the rest of the guys, I'll pay you like the rest of the guys." Wow. You know, I had two choices. I could either get mad and quit, or I could get better. Well, I couldn't sit at a dinner table with my dad every day and look at the guy just quit, his business. And so my only choice was to get better. And so every day I'd get with the guys and I would watch them nailing on shingles and all that good stuff. And finally, I got better. And I got good enough to where I could approach my dad and say, "Dad, I want you to start paying me like those guys." And he looked at me and said, "Son, you're producing, you're adding value to my company. I can pay you like that now." And as leaders, just like I initiated that change so I could gain value in my dad's company and get paid more, as leaders for God's kingdom, you know what? We've got to be initiators so we can have life-transforming relationships with others so we can add value to the kingdom of God. You know what? A great example of this is in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, when God tells us to go and make disciples. He doesn't say hope or sit around and wait for disciples. He says go and make disciples. That's our calling as Christians, as leaders, is to go and make disciples. And there's no better example, a model, than we find in Jesus Christ himself. There's verses in Matthew chapter 4, verse 18 through 20, and it says, "And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, because they were fishermen. And he said to them, 'Follow me, and I'm going to make you fishers of men.' So they immediately left their nets and followed him." You know what? Jesus called his disciples, and in doing so, we can really understand what it takes to be an initiator of life-transforming relationships. So I just want to take this last minute and look at three things that we can pick up from Jesus on how to initiate life-transforming relationships. First of all, in verse 18, we see that Jesus saw them, meaning he saw their potential. He didn't just see some fishermen. He saw the way that God saw them. The fact that these are great men, gifted to do great things for God. So as leaders, we've got to see people the way that God sees them, the potential that lies within them. Second thing, in verse 19, Jesus called them to greatness. He called them to leave the life that they have and call them into greatness. You know what we have to do? Not only see the potential in, but call the potential out of those that we're leading. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 says that we are God's workmanship, created to do good works that he's already prepared in advance for us to do. So Jesus saw their potential, he called them to greatness, and finally he led them in their purpose. Verse 20 says they immediately left their nets and followed him. As they began to fulfill their purpose, Jesus continued to lead them, and that's what we have to do. Help people to find their purpose and to continue to lead them in that. Remember, he saw their potential, he called them to greatness, and he led them in their purpose. We have to go and make disciples. As leaders, we are called to initiate life-transforming relationships. Once again, thanks so much for being here, being part of the website, and thank you so much for reaching people and building lives. You have a great day.